Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Monday, it's August 1st of 2022, and as usual, we have lots to talk about today. We are going to talk about what's going on with Princess requiring boosters on some sailings and what I think it may be as a result of, as well as Royal Caribbean and their 80%, and as well as an COVID health protocol update on the Princess website that I want to make sure that everybody knows about, along with some other random updates for you. So first of all, let's go ahead and start talking about what's going on with Princess and boosters. So Princess Cruise Line last week announced, well, they didn't announce it publicly, they sent an email to passengers who are sailing on a 16-night cruise that is round trip out of New York. It goes to New England, to Canada, and to Greenland. And they received notice saying that if they are going to be going on this cruise, they need to have received their booster before they go if they're eligible for a booster. And then one of our Let's Go family members sent me an email letting us know that they are booked on a transatlantic that is going to be going this year, and they are also required to have a booster to go on that sailing. And so Princess, first of all, has on their website just FAQs with all of the protocols if you are going to sail from the US and Canada, from the UK, from Europe, and from Australia. That's also included. And overall, the protocols are very, very similar. The only places that you're going to see any differences is if you read through the part about the vaccines that are required and the testing windows to go with that. And so I just wanted to let you know, other than that, the cruise experience is the same on the ships. There's no real difference there. And so our Let's Go family members sent me the notice that Princess sent them along with notification that they needed to have a booster. And it is taken from the Cruise Health FAQ for sailings from the United Kingdom. So that's really interesting. So let me tell you, it says, we want to make sailing with Princess cruises as easy, hassle-free, and safe as possible, regardless of your vaccination status, which is why we rigorously follow guidelines from governments, health, and regulatory organizations throughout the world. They're developed with leading medical and health experts, and their cruise health guidelines have proven effective since cruising has resumed. So it says vaccinated guests must have received their final dose of an authorized COVID-19 vaccine at least 14 days before their cruise, as well as a booster for guests 18 years of age and older before beginning the cruise, and provide acceptable proof at the terminal. And so they also go on to say that at the terminal, of course, you must show your negative COVID test taken before embarkation, and the window of time that those tests needs to be done has not changed at all. The really interesting thing to me is we've got that sailing that goes not even to the UK, and it is also requiring a booster. Now, I want you to know that I have read through everything that Canada is requiring of cruise lines, cruise passengers, everything. They want you to be vaccinated, absolutely, but they do not mention a booster anywhere in there. And so I don't honestly think that that requirement comes from Canada. If any of you can find any information about that, certainly please email it to me. But I read through everything on the Canada's the Canadian website where they talk about ArriveCan, vaccines, just everything, and they nowhere do they mention a booster for people who are coming on a cruise. They don't even require a booster for people who are coming just to visit Canada. Okay, so that's not coming from there. I looked through Greenland. I cannot find any particular requirements about a booster that would make me think that Greenland is requiring that. And so I am honestly just wondering if with a sailing that is 16 nights long, they are really just trying to tighten up the window. And I was trying to wonder about that. And I know that we, like I always tell you, we have the wide spectrum here of, we've got our Let's Go family members who feel like everyone should be vaccinated and have their booster on time. And then we have the people that don't want to be vaccinated at all and everything in between. And so the only thing I can think that princesses may be doing is with a longer sailing, they want to try to make sure that as few people get seriously ill I would really like to know what you all think maybe the reason would be behind that. And then just know moving forward that if you're booked on a transatlantic with Princess, I have a feeling that maybe boosters are just going to be required from here on out on those. And I would love to hear from any of you who are booked on any of those transatlantics or any longer sailings of any kind with Princess, and let us know what you're hearing about the protocols. So as I mentioned on the, I'm sorry, my system is a little different here because I'm not at home, but when it comes to what the updates were on the Princess website for the sailings from the United Kingdom, I noticed that it was really interesting. One thing is that this whole time they have commented saying that, you know, when the CDC made it so that you could have 10% unvaccinated passengers on the ship, they changed the protocols for sailings from the US and Canada to show that now they would sail at least with 90% people vaccinated to follow that. Well, now that requirement, and let me tell you, so then over in the UK and Europe, they just kept the wording saying that they were sailing at 95% vaccinated. With this latest update on sailings from the UK, they don't say what percent. And so I really think that they are probably opening that window a little bit wider. For passengers who are aged 5 and under, you don't need an exemption. For everyone else, you need an exemption if you are not vaccinated. And so if you are going to, if you've got one of these cruises booked, you receive the email saying that you've got to have that booster and you don't want a booster, call Princess today and ask for an exemption from that, okay? That is my best counsel to you, because you've got to show that either at the port, you've got to show that you've got your booster, or you've got to have an exemption, I think is what's going on, because that is what the requirement has been all summer long for sailings from the UK and Europe, was if you had received your vaccine 9 months or more ago, then you had to have that booster. And so if you weren't going to have that booster, you had to have an exemption, okay? So do the same thing for these other sailings. If you don't want to get a booster, then hurry up and call and ask for an exemption from that. I think that's the best thing we've got. And if I was booked on one of those and I didn't want to get a booster, I would hurry up and ask for that. I wouldn't just cancel my cruise. It would take a lot for me to just want to cancel my cruise. And I know there's lots of reasons why people don't want another booster. I feel very fortunate that Gordon and I have been able to get both of our boosters. The night we get a booster, we get a little fever and don't feel really good, but then the next morning we're right as rain again. And so I feel really fortunate that we're in that category, that it doesn't make us sick, and it hasn't bothered our health otherwise. So I just wanted to kind of bring you all up to date about that. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to make sure everyone is really clear about is, it says right here on the Princess protocols, and it says this on all of them, is that there is currently no requirement for guests to receive a second booster dose, nor is there a requirement for guests who are ages 17 and younger to have a booster. So make sure that you're aware of that, and that goes for sailings everywhere. So make sure that you know about that. And then I just wanted to review super quick, for those of any of us who have gotten COVID lately, just a quick review on what they are requiring. It says guests who have recovered from COVID-19 within 3 months from the date of their cruise do not need to take a viral test before embarkation if they are at least 10 days past their COVID-19 infections and have no symptoms and produce documentation of recovery from COVID-19. So make sure they have changed that wording there a little bit. So I would definitely take that letter of recovery. Now you can get a letter of recovery from your own personal physician, or you can also, there's lots of websites that you can go to and you just have a telehealth visit with a provider and they give you that letter of recovery. So that is super easy. That's not hard to get. Make sure that if you do test positive, you get a COVID test done at a lab or at home, proctored, so that you've got that official proof. But then just bring that to the port with you and you can go ahead and they'll just do a secondary screening with you with their medical team and let you board the ship, okay? And then if you are within 10 days, you've got to show proof of a negative COVID test. Or if you get to the port and you don't have all that documentation to show that when you had COVID and the whole thing, then you've got to do a COVID test there at the port, is what they say. So just wanted to make sure everybody is clear on that. And I think it's a bigger deal right now with the variant that's going around, that so many people are catching it. And so just to let you know about that. Now we do have, I wanted to talk to you for just a minute here about what's going on with Royal Caribbean. You all are so kind to me. On my video on Saturday, I said, you know what, I cannot find that 80% thing. And a couple of you were so kind, you put it in comments. A couple of you emailed it to me. Thank you so very much. It did come from that earnings call, and Michael Bailey, who is over Royal Caribbean, he is the one that said it. And so he said, let me tell you here super fast. And it is a big deal because with Royal Caribbean, they have given exemptions the whole time for people who either could not be vaccinated for medical or for closely held religious beliefs. They have given exemptions for that, but not widely at all. And so they are really excited to welcome adults on board, as they say, and who are not vaccinated. And it's because they're widening a little bit what they're allowing for the exemption. And they are also still going to allow children who are 12 and under to not be vaccinated. But here's what it says. We will also continue to operate highly vaccinated cruises with a vaccinated population greater than society, and which continues to exempt kids 12 and under. And we will welcome unvaccinated guests ages 12 and older with a certificate of recovery within 90 days to travel, keeping in mind our ships will typically sail with 80% plus vaccinated guests on board. So that's the context that they gave it. So once for giving the 80%. And so keep in mind that if you have also had COVID recently, if you're going to sail with Royal Caribbean, you've got to have that certificate or letter of recovery as well. But I really appreciate you all sending this to me. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how much the cruise lines announce when they're moving to lower percents of people vaccinated. I noticed, like I said, in Princesses, they just slid that out on the latest update for sailings from the UK. And so I don't know. And you know what? I don't really know that they will, I don't really think that they are going to announce on a sailing by sailing basis what percent are vaccinated. And I think honestly, they'll just see how it goes. And if it goes really well at sailing with close to 80%, then they might tweak it a little bit more to have more vaccinated, less vaccinated. But I think it's really great that all of the cruise lines seem very anxious to get passengers on board and give everyone the chance to sail and do their best to accommodate everyone. I really do get that feeling from all of the different cruise lines, from Norwegian, from Royal Caribbean, Princess, Carnival, really all of them. And then the other thing that goes with that is at the end of this, as I had mentioned last week, he said, over the coming weeks, as we evaluate these changes and discuss further changes with the destinations we visit, our intention is to further relax testing requirements. And so as this happens, I think that it's going to be really interesting to see. I had mentioned that they also talked about maybe having the option to go ahead and have people do their test just at home, and then like they do in Australia, just verify what the test result was. And I know that some people thought, oh, I don't know if people will be honest about that. But you know, right now over on Carnival, when you ask for a medical exemption, it used to be that you would have to give, you know, the letter and the information from the doctor. And now they don't anymore. You just simply say that you're not vaccinated for medical reasons and they take your word. And so I wonder, it sounds like maybe that's what they are going to start doing at some point with testing. And so I like that I hope people are honest. I think it's best to live life assuming for the most part that people are honest. It's like be cautious and but what is that quote? I'll find it and tell you tomorrow. Trust but verify, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, that's where we stand. And I'm excited to hear what Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and even Princess, what they decide to do in the upcoming future. Now, other than that, we've just got a couple of updates here. Let's see. So on these sailings, we do have an update today from Mark, and I really appreciate it. They are on the Majestic Princess, and they are in Ketchikan today. He said that it's raining, but it's supposed to clear up a little bit this afternoon, so I hope it does, so that you know, rain always kind of makes it a little bit harder to see everything quite as clearly with the rain coming down. So I hope it clears for a minute so that they can enjoy the scenery a little bit more there and enjoy their day. But he also said that he had heard from another passenger that this week on the Majestic, they're sailing around 2,600, and he said, I'm not sure if that's accurate, but it's about what I've been hearing. They're nowhere near capacity. If you're not familiar, capacity on the Majestic is 3,600. And so with 2,600, they've got lots of wiggle room there. He said that things seem to be going really well, that there were a lot of children on board, as we often see in the summertime, but they seem to be having a good time, and it was a pleasure to be with them all. And so thank you very much, Mark, for that. And he also pointed out that they are going to be diverted to Sitka. And so instead of going to Skagway. So a couple of updates about what's going on in Skagway. So our Let's Go family member, what is her name? It'll come to me in a minute. I think it was Amber. They are scheduled on the Discovery Princess, and they received an update about it. And she said that what's going on with it is they are going to, let me tell you right here. It says they are going to have to extend these changes clear to the end of the season. And so when the Discovery Princess goes, it says, regretfully, the Discovery Princess will no longer be able to call in Skagway, and they are going to go to Sitka. So that's for August 11th. They will not be able to call there. So we can know that the Discovery is going to be able to go to Sitka that week, but they also say that that changes through the end of the season. So we are going to have a lot of ships that are going to have to be redoing their itineraries on that. So we've also got an update from the Majestic Princess. Mark is on the Majestic Princess right this week. Today, Monday, they are in Ketchikan. He said it's rainy there this morning, but it's supposed to clear a little bit this afternoon. And I very much appreciate that he sent an update regarding their itinerary. He said that let's see, a number of passengers are doing the back-to-back and told us that they are going to stop at Icy Strait Point on the southbound leg, which makes sense. They have Sitka after they go to Juneau this week instead of Skagway, which means they're going to have to backtrack just a little bit. Our Let's Go family member, Harry, I really appreciate his information that he sent me as well. He is going to be on the sailing on August 8th. So this coming up weekend, he'll be boarding, and he said on their sailing that instead of going to Skagway, they are going to go to Icy Strait Point. So it does sound like if sailings are coming from the south, in other words, they're northbound, they'll be going to Sitka. And if they are southbound, they'll be going to Icy Strait Point. So those of you who are, this is for the Majestic, okay? And so those of you who have any later sailings on the Majestic Princess, I'd love to hear from you. And then the rest of you, let us know what you are hearing about your sailings as well, because that really does help us. And I would love to hear from any of you sailing on the Grand Princess, the Ruby Princess, any of it. So thank you so very, and you know what, any cruise ship actually, I'd love to hear. So do send those. So the rest of the review from Mark, he said that they're having a wonderful cruise. He said there are lots of children on board, like we often see in the summertime everywhere, but Alaska is really popular with families. But he said they're very well behaved. Another passenger told him that there's around 2,600 on board, but he said, I haven't been able to verify that, but indeed that gives them lots of wiggle room. If you're not familiar, the capacity for the Majestic Princess is around 3,600, 3,660 exact, to be exact. And so the ships are sailing nowhere near full capacity. So if any of you were wondering about that, there's that information. Other than that, I wanted to make sure that you all know and put on your calendar, if you're going to be on the Ruby Princess on August 18th, our Let's Go family members are going to have a meet and greet there at 5 p.m. And if you go over to our Facebook group, Let's Go Travel Tips, people have been really kind, and we're making events for different meet and greets. And as they get closer, I'll try to remind you all, but you might want to go over there because it's a great way to start talking to people who are going to be on your sailing. You can, I know that we've got Cruise Critic and their all the threads that they have and all of the roll calls that they have, but this is another really unique opportunity to visit with each other as well. So I hope that you will take a chance to do that. And then also, I guess that's about all I have for today. Also, I did want to remind you all, just underneath this video, we always link our daughter's Etsy store. She's got an Etsy store that she sells very inexpensively, packing lists. And if you need a greeting card for anything, you can also go there. But her packing lists are actually really good. And I always look at them to make sure that I'm on target with everything that we need when we go on a cruise. So I just wanted to recommend that to you. And we also have Jeffrey, a link to our Jeffrey's blog that he does, Cruising for One. So take a look at that if you haven't yet. And like I said, if any of you are in any cruise ships, if you've got any updates for us, we would really love to hear from you. That really helps inform everything here. So if you have any questions on anything else, put those down below as well. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, would you please subscribe to our channel? We'd love to have you with us. We need to have you with us, and I think that you need our Let's Go family in your life as well. So, and if you appreciate these videos, would you please give this one a thumbs up? I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.